this could be us. So back to what I was saying. Could be us.
Yo, what's poppin', guys? It's your boy Crooks, the Great, and we're back out here with the part 2 that everybody has been asking for on the 5 tips to help you improve in UFC 4, and we're here again with the homie Pryoxis. How you doing, my brother?
Yo, I'm good, man. How you doing, my guy?
Oh, my guy, we're doing good, bro. Hey, a lot of people have been requesting this part 2, man, so, you know, we got to give the people what they want. And we're actually going to be using a matchup that you guys are going to see on Saturday, which we're going to be using Islam and Bobby Green. So let's go ahead and jump into the fight here. If you would select your blue trunks. I don't even know why they have Bobby Green with blue trunks in here, because he don't wear those in real life. But we ain't gonna say that. We didn't get Charles Oliveira, blonde hair Charles Oliveira either. So I mean, I guess we can't really complain. But the first thing we're going to be talking about in the part 2 of the video is we're going to be talking about understanding all aspects of the game. We went over pattern reading and how to make proper reads and understanding matchups. So now we're just going to get into the real meaty parts of UFC 4. I feel like in terms of understanding all aspects of the game, the 2 things that people struggle with the most, I would say in the game, is understanding the GA system and understanding the clinch. So we're going to touch on both of those, but we'll start off with the GA if you want to go ahead, Pry.
All right, cool. So I'm going to shoot this double leg, take you down to the ground. Actually, how about, yeah, you take me down. Take me down. Because technically, this is how the fight's going to go. All right, so the grapple advantage meter is basically the meter at the top of the screen. Now, there's a blue and a red. Depending on what gloves you are wearing, it will go towards your side. I'm Bobby Green with the blue glove, so as you see, if I punch him here, my grapple advantage goes up. And then if he punches me, of course, the referee stands us up. If he punches me, the grapple advantage on his side will go up. Now, what that grapple advantage meter determines is whether your transition will be faster or slower than your opponent. So take me back down, back to half guard or full guard. So basically, if I have, let's just say I have max grapple advantage, I'm going to punch him till it maxes out. You'll notice how fast my transition is. So it's basically maxed out. You see that transition there. Now let's do a different one. Actually, we're going to start off with going the regular get up and see how slow that meter fills up. Now I'm going to punch him until I basically get full grapple advantage. And that's fine. That's basically half, and look how much faster that transition is there. Now, let's say Crooks takes me down, puts me in a full guard, and then he gets full grapple advantage. And when he gets full grapple advantage, I'm going to try to transition. Now watch how slow my transition is now. Look, that is hella slow. So understanding grapple advantage, if it's on your opponent's side, whether that's because he denied your transition and he gives him grapple advantage, or he threw strikes and he's building no grapple advantage, or he's doing fake transitions and you're trying to deny them, and it's giving him the grapple advantage because, again, he's not actually doing the transition, he's faking it. All those things lead to a grapple advantage, which will cause your opponent to be able to transition faster. Now, Crooks, if you could give us maybe a few examples of, using the grapple advantage in order to get into like a dominant position if you were Islam Makhachev.
Yeah, well, I mean, once you understand like the aspects of it, like probably was just breaking down with the punches and stuff like that, then you could kind of start to maneuver your jiu-jitsu and bottom game around that. So you see, probably go ahead and punch me here. So we're punching, jockeying for GA, and like he said, then you can start throwing fakes in, right? So you guys see me do this a lot on my stream. I'll fake down, and then I'll continue to punch, and then I'll fake down. And then I'm doing this for a reason. I want to get, in this case, Bobby Green I want to get him to bite on one of these fakes. Because if he bites on the fakes, it's going to continue to build up my GA. And as that GA builds up, then you can kind of hit those, what we like to call those transition reversals. So for those of you guys that are in my streams a lot, I actually get this question a lot, is how do you do them? So we're going to go ahead and jockey for position here, probably bite on these fakes a little bit. And then we're going to go for the get up, and we're going to hit that half guard sweep. So that momentum, that GA that I build is going to help me get him into a reversal scenario. So that way I can regain dominant position, and I can really, if you're a really elite level grappler or you do like grappling, it's going to put you in a dominant position, which is really where you want to be at, especially if you're using somebody like Islam Makhachev or Khabib or Kamaru Usman or any high level grappler, you want to be on top instead of on bottom. So we'll kind of go over some of the transitions as well. Probably if you want to shoot another takedown on me real quick, just so that way you guys understand like how to do these reversals as well, because I feel like not a lot of people know about these. So if you see here, we have the get ups, right? So we have full guard to the left, we have the get up to the right, we have the get up to the bottom, and we have the get up to the top. But if I hit L1 on the controller, LB if you're on Xbox, for those of you guys that play on Xbox, it'll be LB, then these transitions will pop up. Now I get back sitting to the left and to the right, and I get half guard down and backside up. So when you're flicking to gain that GA, all you're going to do in order to get one of those transitions is you're going to hold L1 and then you're going to go for backside. And that's exactly how you switch positions. I utilize this. This is why I like getting people in full guard. You guys hardly ever see me try to hit reversals out of half guard or something like that, because those are too easily accessible and to read. Like, look, let's say if I'm sitting, go ahead and give me a half guard real quick, Pry. Like, if I block Pry's transition here, go ahead and try to go to side control. If I block his transition here, see the GA's in my favor, but that instantly is going to put Pry as an elite player on notice, like, hey, I know he has GA, so then he's going to be looking to block whatever transition I'm setting up. Even you might get away with it once in a while with a fake before you go for it, but most of the time people are just going to be looking for the transition to fully go, like the animation to play out almost to damn near full, and then they're trying to block it. So if you're doing it in full guard, makes it a little bit more easier because they don't know if you're actually trying to get up or if you're trying to sweep them. So definitely understanding that aspect in terms of the GA can help your ground game really go long ways, man. Really long ways. I hardly ever get held on the ground just by using those simple tools that Pride talked to you about, and then utilizing the jiu-jitsu sweeps out of full guard can take your game really to the next level. But the next thing that we were going to talk about is in understanding all aspects of the game, we were going to talk about the clinch. So I get this a lot too. People talk about, how do you beat clinch spammers? What do you do in the clinch to really help you reverse positions? So, probably, how do you really approach that? Because I might have a little bit of a different way of approaching it than you do. So I'm gonna let you go first on this one.
All right, so I mean, there's multiple ways to avoid being clinched. Don't get me wrong, the clinch, we all know the clinch is the clinch. But in order to, ways to avoid the clinch is, one, flicking your left stick up or down. As you see here, I'm sidestepping, so he's not able to clinch me. Moving my head, as you see here, he can't clinch me. I move my head out the way. Also, another way is lunging. If I lunge towards the outside of his clinch, well then. I think I did it too late. If you gotta time it right, like, it's more so timing with the lunging, right? But I think the most efficient way, in my opinion, is sidestepping. You can sidestep the clinches, and that's a way you can avoid it. Also, another way you can avoid being clinched if your opponent tries to clinch you is throwing a straight punch. So if he reaches out for the clinch and you hit him with see right there across, see how it landed perfectly. It was actually able to stop his whole clinch animation. It's right there. Oh, never mind.
That tracking went through. That's UFC 4 tracking for you right there.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, as you see here, it's not as reliable as just sidestepping, but it gives you damage. That's the thing. So those are 3 ways you can use to avoid the clinch. Crooks, if you give me your opinion or your perspective as far as how you deal with people that want to grab the back of your neck off fight.
Yeah. This is what we see a lot, right? Clinch spamming is probably the worst type of thing that you can see in the game. Like, it's the most annoying. So one way I'm going to teach you guys how to do it is probably go ahead and clinch me up. If they clinch you and they're just trying to move you, go ahead and try to just move me around, Pry. You can back out of it, but go ahead and clinch me up again. If you just stand still and they're not kneeing you, you can reverse the position into your favor and get them into a plum clinch like this by just hitting R1 and triangle. Like, probably go ahead and clinch me up again. Boom, we're just standing there. I hit R1, triangle. Oh, he hit R1 and triangle. But I hit R1 and triangle, and bam. Now I'm in a good position. Now I can push him around, push him up to the fence, whether you want to grapple offensively or you can let go, hit some body strikes, force them to get off of the cage themselves. Very, very useful tool if your opponent is just trying to grab you and control you. Because I know a lot of guys that like to probably grab me and then they just push you back up to the cage. They're not even trying to throw strikes. They just want to get you here to try to get you in the 50-50 spot of taking your back. So then you're kind of like, well, are they going for backpack, or are they going for back sitting, or are they just going to try to power take me down? A lot of guys just like to do that. A lot of grapplers like to do that. So definitely a tool that you guys can utilize when they're just trying to control you is that R1 and triangle. Another way that I really like to avoid the clinch is I just utilize combinations. Because when this animation right here happens, it takes a second. And look at that. Pride just tried to clinch me. Look at how my overhand came out. I'll just kind of launch a combination off. And look at, I can punch. And one thing that I feel like not a lot of people talk about as well is even if you combo and let's say you get clinched in mid combination. Look, now I can just punch once and then I take a step back and I'm instantly out of the clinch. So if you get caught mid combination and the hook comes out, you throw a hook while you're getting clinched up, it makes for a shorter time for you to be able, look at how quick that is. I don't have to literally back up the whole entire time. I'm throwing a combo. Probably going to clinch me here. Unless he advances into a clinch like that, but not a lot of people like to do that. So I throw one hook and I'm out. Jab hook, probably clinch me up real quick. One hook and then I'm out. Bam, one hook, I'm out. And when you hit them with that hook, they can't hit you with a knee. They have to eat that hook, and then you can back out of the pocket. So those are definitely something that you guys can utilize against clinch spammers, because I know clinch spamming in this game can be absolutely dog doo-doo. Let me tell you. Bruh, it can make for a terrible time. So definitely utilize the tools that Pride just talked about and the ones that I just talked about to help you guys kind of ease the stress of being in a fight with a clinch spammer. But with that being said, we're going to jump into the second and last thing that we do have for you guys here on part 2 of the video. And that's mental autopilot, avoiding going into mental autopilot. I cannot tell you guys enough how this can make good players bad players instantly, like in the blink of an eye. It is something that we all face. I do it. I'm on stream. I go into mental autopilot. I start losing fights. Pride does the same thing. We go into we don't make reads. We stop making reads. We're just like, oh, we know what we're better than these people, so we're just gonna go in and be able to beat them, which does not happen. It does not. It is not 100% like it used to be in old games that you could just go in and outskill somebody in UFC 4. So Pride, how when you find yourself in kind of just being in a mental autopilot mode, how do you either prevent yourself from getting in there, number one, and when you are in it, how do you pull yourself out of it?
All right, so to prevent yourself from getting into it, it's like, don't tilt. Like, always think about, and it's hard. It's extremely hard. It's something, like you said, we all face, especially as streamers, when you want to, entertain your chat, interact with those guys, and on top of that, play. So trying not to tilt, man, it's honestly, you have to be thinking every second of the fight. You have to be thinking about what's going on, what's happening next, and it can be draining. So while you're doing that, sometimes it's good to take a break, bro. Like, even if it's like a 5-minute reset, maybe it's a 2-minute reset. It's to get up, get you some water, and then just relax for a second, because it relaxes your mind. You're not consistently thinking, because when it comes to playing at a high level, honestly, man, it takes a lot of mental. It takes a lot of thinking, a constant thinking. Okay, what's he doing next? What is he doing now? So a lot of times people will just fade into the autopilot mode, and they'll just be throwing stuff. They'll be throwing the combination that they're used to throwing. And again, me and you have done this before. This is like, it happens, and you naturally play, and sometimes you win. But when it comes to facing somebody that's really locked in, a lot of those times you lose those matches, because you're autopilot. You're not thinking about what your opponent is doing. You're just paying attention to what you're doing as yourself. So again, the best thing to do as far as getting out of autopilot is just taking yourself a break, because to get out of autopilot, you don't want to just, okay, well, I'm gonna just jump into the next fight. I'm not on autopilot. No. You want to really give your mind a quick break, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever. Get you some water, juice, whatever it may be, and then reset.
Yeah, it's super important. Guys, never play on tilt. Never play on tilt. If you are getting frustrated at the game, get the hell off. Get off. Like, nobody is forcing you to play this game. Like, nobody. Nobody. It's not worth getting upset, because then that's when you start throwing your controller and all that stuff. And we've seen enough of that. We see enough of those kind of videos on YouTube. You know what I mean? Of people throwing their controllers. So don't play on tilt. Another thing that can help you avoid getting into mental autopilot is just sticking to the second tip that we have for you guys on the first video, which was pattern reading. Or proper reads and then pattern reading. If you stick to paying attention to what your opponent is doing, then you're not going to go into autopilot, because your mind is working like, hey, you know what? I'm looking for things. And if your mind is looking for things, then it can't just be like, oh, well, I can outskill this person. Like, you're using your mind. You're keeping your mind involved in the fight. And then as you're doing that against elite players, that makes for you having not an easier time, but a better chance of winning. And it's really, really super important that you start to learn that as an up-and-coming player, because when you start fighting elite players, that's when you're going to need to be engaged all fight long. Whether you're fighting in ranked championships against myself, Pryoxis, GOAT, Romero, you need to be locked in. You cannot be on autopilot against any of those guys that I just named. Like, you can't. You're not going to win going on autopilot. There is very few to next to no people that can do that. That can be on autopilot and just beat somebody like that. So that's one thing. Number two, the second thing I would say, and when you are to prevent yourself from getting in autopilot, is be careful when you're listening to music, when you're playing, because I know a lot of people, you know, there's Spotify on the PlayStation 5, there's Spotify, I believe, on Xbox too, right, Pry?
Yeah. I believe so.
Yeah. I think Spotify's on Xbox, or, you know, you pop your AirPods in and you're just playing, you're listening, you're more focused on music than you are the game. And that happens to me a lot on stream. I'll focus on what I'm listening to and just kind of getting in the vibe. And then I shift to autopilot mode. And then before I know it, I've lost 3 fights in a row and I'm wondering what the hell is going on. And then I'm trying to lock in being tilted, and that just doesn't work. So just be careful, you know, with what you're doing in terms of, like, providing outside distractions if you're trying to rank up in your division points and as you're trying to advance being a good player in this game. Because if you're just shifting into autopilot mode every single time you're putting on music, then you're not going to advance. You're gonna win some fights, you're gonna lose some fights, but most of the time you're probably gonna lose a lot more fights than you're gonna win at the beginning. So that's something that you can do to prevent yourself from going into autopilot. And the last thing that I have to help prevent you guys from going into mental autopilot is just respect your opponent. Respect everybody that you get in there with even the spammers. You have to respect the fact that they're going to spam the crap out of you. Like, they are. And you need to be able to make adjustments with that. You need to try to rack your brain as much as frustrating as it is that somebody no-skills you with knees and elbows. You have to be able to beat those guys. So you have to respect the fact that people are going to fight you, whether it be they fight you legit, they're high-level players, or they're spammers. Just respect everybody that you get in there with. Everybody. It prevents you from going into autopilot. It's going to shift your mind into, okay, I need to make proper reads. I need to understand the matchup, the people that I'm using, the fighters that we're using. I need to be able to try to find that pattern and read it out. And then, okay, now that I've made the reads, what do I need to do? Do I need to grapple? Do I want to keep it on the feet? Do I want to clinch him up, try to take him down? And then, you know, it just prevents you from getting in that mental autopilot. So those are definitely some things that I would utilize, and the ones that Pry was talking about as well. You know, you want to try to do everything you can to prevent yourself from being complacent, because complacency is going to be the death of talent and skill every single time. So with that being said, I don't believe we have anything else to really cover in the video.
I got one more thing. For the
All right, go
for the
ahead.
people, and this is a small tip, but this could also go a long ways.
Yeah.
For the people that made it, that watched the whole video, one, highly appreciate it. Two, the tip is this, and honestly, for some people, this could be great, groundbreaking, and this is something I even do. I mean, has nothing to do with UFC. This is what I do in League of Legends, and it's changed my viewpoint. It's not focusing on your own character. I'm not sure if Crooks does it or not, but why are we looking at our own character? Your what is it called? The outside, the peripheral. Your peripheral should see your character. Your main focus should be focused on your opponent, just like in real life. If I'm fighting this guy, right? If Islam, I'm Bobby Green and I'm fighting Islam Makhachev, right? Why would I be focused on myself? I need to be looking at my opponent and his moves. I can see myself out the corner of my eye, but a lot of times that split second can change, you being able to avoid a strike, or you being able to get out the way, or even landing a counter against, opponent where you're just looking at yourself. Like, I don't need to look at Bobby Green. I know Bobby Green at. I need to look at Islam. I need to see what he's doing. And that also helps with making reads, because if you're looking at yourself, well, you're not paying too much attention to what your opponent is doing.
Yeah,
and that's basically wraps up, that right there. I honestly, I am 100% glad you brought up that point, because that is, if you're looking at yourself while you're in a ranked championship fight, it's going to be a problem, bro. It is going to be a big problem. You need to trust that you know where you're at in the cage at all times. You need to be focused on, and this if you're not able to do that, you need to go into practice mode, go into quick fight, number one. Before you ever jumped in ranked championships, go into quick fight and get used to just looking at your opponent and judging the range. You should be able to judge the range without ever having to look at yourself. That's something that elite level players, and I didn't even think of that, so thank you so much for bringing that up. It's something that as elite players, we don't even need to think about. We know where we're at. We know what's going to land. We don't even have to look at I don't even have to look at myself most of the time. Right. Like, I don't, unless he's like somebody's shooting a double leg, then I'm looking at myself because I need to see which direction they're driving me in. But other than that, I don't look at myself. I know what range I'm at. I know what's gonna land, and I know I'm paying more attention to, okay, when he throws a combination, is he backing up? Is he coming back in? Is he standing still? You need to be able to do that, and you can't do that if you're looking at yourself. So that's definitely a super important tip that Pride just gave you guys. That could really go a long way. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But all right, guys, that's it for the tip video. Part 2 of the tip video. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys did make it to the end of this video, super appreciate it. It's super appreciated. I know this was kind of a longer video. That's why we chopped it up into 2 parts, and even the second part is going to be pretty long. So I really appreciate it. If you guys did enjoy the video, and you guys are new to the channel, make sure to slap that subscribe button, as well as slap that like button, so that way this video does get thrown into the YouTube algorithm, and it does help more people that are looking for help in UFC 4. Make sure you guys not only subscribe to my channel, but to Pryoxis' channel as well. I'm going to leave the link to his channel in the description. Go follow him. He makes dope UFC 4 content, drops videos daily, does some really interesting stuff on his stream, like the Boobot, or the videos with the Boobot B-Boot videos and stuff like that. Has all kinds of good stuff. We have fighting videos on there, so if you guys actually want to see us spar and get into it, we have a lot of videos over there on his channel, so make sure you guys peep that out. But before we head out, Pryor, is there anything you want to say? Hey, 1, appreciate it. 2, gotta do this more. Definitely gotta do this more. Even when like going into like UFC 5, especially, it's essential that players are going to need to understand, especially from people like me and you. Like, we're going to pick up UFC 5, and we're going to, pick up on it fairly quickly. So if you guys want more content like this, I highly suggest you subscribe to Crooks, because once UFC 5 drops and you're essentially a bum at the game and you want to get good fast, well, you got quick tips from Crooks and Pride, man.
Yep. And we're definitely going to get it in. We've already been talking about it for like the last year, of how we're going to drop videos for you guys as soon as that game drops. So make sure when you follow Pry as well, you guys have those post notifications turned on. You guys have the post notifications from myself turned on. And if you guys have any questions on anything that we touched on in these last 2 videos, hop in one of our streams. Feel free to ask us. We're always here for you guys. We're like the encyclopedia for UFC 4. So definitely feel free to do that. But until the next video, guys, or until the next stream, take it easy, be safe, enjoy your day, your afternoon, your evening, depending on when you're watching this video. And we will see you guys in the next one.